Now, we'll invite the speakers to come to the stage. Please remain seated. Thank you. Thank you. Please be seated. Take your seats. Thank you. 총장님 저쪽에. 총장님 저쪽에. So please welcome our two distinguished speakers. And this session is designed as a special conversation between Chairman Ma and Secretary General Ban. So Secretary General Ban will take over the floor from me. And floor is yours, Secretary General.
President Kim Yong-hak of Yonsei University, former President of Austria Heinz Fischer, Excellencies, dear students, distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor and pleasure for me to welcome all of you to this special conversation with Jack Ma, Chairman of Alibaba Group, and special advocate of the United Nations Secretary General for Sustainable Development Goals. We've been working together very closely in trying to attaining the fulfillment of Sustainable Development Goals. There are some people who do not need any introductions. So therefore, instead of me introducing him orally, it will be boring. So I'd like to ask you to watch brief 2-3 minutes short video clips about his own personal life, history, his commitment, and his vision, how he has been working hard together with the United Nations and other partners around the world to make this world better. Not only people of China, but the whole world of the world, whole people of the world. So let us watch, and after that, we will continue our special dialogue. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
They're the traditional crafts woven with modern marketing that have transformed this village. For centuries, the villagers of Wantou have made furniture from reeds fished out of ponds, but they can never get their products to market. Now China's online shopping revolution means millions of potential customers are just a click away. Meng Li was among the village's earliest converts. Her business now has 12 staff and sales of more than $1 million a year.
When I started this business, my neighbors thought I was just playing computer games. They couldn't understand what I was doing sitting in front of a screen all day. But gradually we got more and more orders. Now my family make a lot of money. We've bought houses and cars and are living the dream.
潘基文秘书长、潘夫人、尊敬的 Gordon Brown、尊敬的刘结义大使、戚市长、各位来宾，早上好！非常感谢来到今天参加我们这个的新公益大会，所有在场的和没有来到的，把那些爱心交给公益事业的同志，特别感谢大家光临今天。
We must put people and planet at the center of what we do, underpinned by human rights. We need your help to make sure the Sustainable Development Goals are the business of all business and the business of all the people. I'm not here to ask you to give money to the United Nations. I'm here to align your business operations and your business vision to align with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and the vision of Paris Agreement on climate change.
所以呢，我们也认为做公益、做慈善 都是做人生一辈子中最大的一种福报。我们在启动这个项目的时候，我们也这7年以来，我们发现在公益的路上有很多的志同道合的同仁，他们一直在探求，一直在努力，一直在改变着生活，改变着我们这个世界。所以我们觉得我们这一批人需要有一个平台，需要有个机会来分享交流我们的经验和看法。
Well, Chairman Ma, it's a great pleasure to meet you here in Seoul, my home country. As you know, I was in your company and I attended the Sin Philanthropy Conference, which was successfully hosted by you in July 2015, I remember. And there, I think a conference brought together a lot of philanthropy pioneers in China and many experts around the world to foster an idea how the business communities can work for implementing these sustainable development goals. I was fascinated by your opening remarks, which you have watched just, if I may quote, you said that it's not enough to have a goodwill, but we also need the talent and planning and execution to make a sustainable world in China and in the world. In the same vein, as a Secretary General, I have been always emphasizing in my keynote speech, it's not the only government. We need a stronger partnership between government, the business communities, and civil society leadership. This is a very important partnership which I have been emphasizing. I have been also emphasizing that we are the first generation which can put an end to abject poverty, as China has been really passionately doing under the leadership of President Xi Jinping. And we are also the last generation who can take some actions against the continuing accelerating climate phenomena. This is what I have been emphasizing. And as we have just watched, you have invented one Chinese character, as I said. This is Shin. You have what? Have you known this word, Shin? I know how many people can invent any character or any language. King Sejong of Korea, he invented Hangul, Korean alphabet. I don't know who invented Chinese character, but you are only one Chinese maybe who has invented this Shin character. Let me just ask you your philosophical thoughts, why you invented this Shin philanthropy. I know that this is something which you are caring for other people. So I think many people should be very much interested and curious about this letter.
Yeah, thank you so much, Secretary General, and thank you so much for coming. I'm very happy to be and honored to be invited. Let me first answer the new word, the Shin. On the top is the family, and the bottom is the heart. So we believe that the world should be like a family-like. It should not be the world full of wars, full of angers. And what's the meaning of making money? I think I'm asking myself from a very poor family, from nobody to today, living to be such a size. What's the purpose of being rich? We don't want to spend the money in the hospital. We are rich, we die in a miserable way. You're sick. You don't want to spend the money When you have money, the environment is bad. You don't want to have the money because the world is full of wars and anger and hatred. So I believe that philanthropy is that you should treat the world like a family. You should do the things with heart. Giving money away is simple and easy. But giving your action is different. The difference between charity and philanthropy. Charity is more about giving money. Philanthropy is more about giving actions. So the SHEIN platform we built up is try to enable and encourage millions of people in this world. They don't have money, but they have a great heart. They do tiny things. They change themselves. So I think when you give money to the others, not necessarily change the others, and not necessarily changing the world. But when you give money, give action to the others, you are changing yourself, right? When there's an earthquake happen in Japan, earthquake happened in China, I donated my money, my colleagues donated the money. And I told my colleagues, the money you donated will not solve a lot of problems in the earthquake areas. But the action you do it, change yourself. If only when everybody is changed, the world can be changed. So this is our philosophy. We, from my view, we should encourage people with good heart, with tiny actions to improve the world by changing yourself, by improve the world by having a little bit. And doing philanthropy different from the charity is charity, you give the money and you go away. Philanthropy is about get the result. So I think when you want to do something good, it's not only about goodwill, it's about a good execution. So that is why we think we should, as a philanthropist, you have to work together with government, business, and scientists. Scientists will teach you what is the right way to do the right things. Business is all about doing this thing in an efficient way. I found a lot of people in this world, they have a business heart, but they have a philanthropy way. They do the opposite. I think we should have a philanthropy heart, but in a business way. Business people is about the result. Business people is about efficiency. So a lot of people, if we do this thing, takes about $3. If you don't have the business skills, you may spend $30 to do this. This is not efficient. If it is not efficient, the philanthropy can never last long. So this is what we believe.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Since you are here in Korea, I'd like to tell you a very good story about you. A lot of people not only have interest. I think your recent book, which you wrote, is now being sold like a hot cake. And I also bought one book, like Mawin, The Future I Saw, like the new challenges and opportunities in the era of data technologies. In that book, you mentioned something related to SHEIN philanthropy, effective altruism. I think this is an important characteristic which is a fast-growing social movement dedicated to maximizing the impact to help others who would otherwise be left behind. It aims to persuade, I know that to give a significant portion of your time and money to improving the world and to do so in a most cost-effective way. You said that in your book that this is one of the way to shift the paradigm. It really helps a paradigm shift in our world. Effective altruism really promotes equity and also a dignity for many people. As a Secretary General, one of my mottos is that not to leave anybody behind.
Right.
So left nobody behind, regardless of your
That's great.
social, economic status, political status, or gender, whatever it may be. So it's a very important motto of the United Nations. I think this effective altruism seems to aim to achieve that kind of a world. Some people, even economic experts, scholars, or multinational development bank heads, they said that would it be possible to eradicate completely the abject poverty by 2030, which we aim in Sustainable Development Goals. How do you think your concept of effective altruism will help achieve our common goal of addressing Sustainable Development Goals?
Thank you so much. Well, for the question, first, I did not write the book. I think this is a book, it's about most of the words and the speeches that my thinking people kept. Because I think one day I will write a book. But the book I want to write is Alibaba 1001 Mistakes. All the mistakes that I made and we made will be the most treasurable things for the human beings, especially for young people, to learn from the mistakes that we made. People today say, Jack Ma, you're so smart. Alibaba people are so smart. We were not smart. We're smart because we learn from mistakes. And we want to share the book with you, share how stupid we were when we were young, make a lot of mistakes. But I like your story, the question. First, people worry, later we'll discuss about technology. The new technology revolution is coming. If we are not ready for this technology revolution, very possibly it will become a social revolution. A lot of people's job is going to be away. I don't think government is ready. I don't think the people are ready, especially those successful people today. We are not ready for the next 30 years. Technology revolution may cause problems, but bring a lot of great opportunities for human beings. Much more problems will be solved, but a lot of new problems will be created next 30 years. But I would say 50 years later, our next generation after next will be benefit from this technology revolution. But our generation, our kids is going to suffer. The first technology revolution, my view, is caused directly or indirectly the First World War. Second technology revolution, directly or indirectly, caused the Second World War. Now we are coming to the third technology revolution. What's the Third World War is? The Third World War is about we human beings should work together against poverty. The war against poverty, the war against the disease, the war against the environment. So I think the technology of today, you're talking about increase is about enabling. The IT technology is to enable yourself, to make the power much more powerful. The data technology, which we are going to enter in, is to enable the poor, enable others. It's a great opportunity for our generation, for our people. So I think everybody should know, all the young people here, if you want to be successful in the next 30 years, think about others more than think about yourself. This is how Alibaba succeeds, because in the past 20 years, I work with my team. Think about a small business. Think about young people. Think about women, how you can enable them to be successful. If they are successful, you can get tiny out of it. If all the people you supported all bankrupted, you have no chance to win. So this is what my view is about. When we do things, we have to be effective. We have to have our Xing heart inside, but we also have to enable capability, execution capability to make things happening. I love the technology revolution, but I worry about technology revolution. That is why I go all around the world to talk to government officers, talk to the leaders, talk to successful people. Please get ready for next 30 years. It's going to be good 30 years later, but it's going to be tough next 30 years. That is why we have to be effective.
Thank you very much. Before I continue, let me just explain why I talked about your book. I'm glad to know that you have not written any book until now, as I have not been doing. In fact, there are many books written about me. Many people ask about what they read in those books. But unfortunately, I have never written a book about me. Or whatever subject may be, I'm going to write a book. Let us see, exchange.
That is good. That is good.
Exchange
That is
our
good.
books.
That is good.
I was very much flattered when I was reading at the back page, there were several photos, but there was one photo taken with me and with you, between you and me. So I was very much flattered about this book. In any way, this was a book about your conversation with the President Obama, Jack Trudeau of Canada, or some other business leaders of the world. So it was quite inspiring to understand how you think about the future, how you can really use your power, your capacity with money and energy and technological innovative ideas for other people. Since you raised the issue of women and youth, I think it is not for us. The reason why we're working hard is not for us, in fact. We are working for our succeeding generations. And there are still many people, youth and women, whose political, economic, and social status and opportunities have not given properly. I know that you have employed a lot of women, women sitting in the boardroom. That's excellent. That's excellent. In fact, if we combine some numbers, statistics, the half of this world are women, at least more than men. Then if we combine the number of young people from age 10 to 25 or so, there are 1.8 billion people. That accounts about 75% of our global populations are either women or young people, but in that, the young women will be included. In any way, 75% of our global population are those who really we have to care for their future generation. In fact, I have been saying that you are the leaders tomorrow, but even today, there are many young people who have taken a very strong, effective leadership role. This is a very important role, and I ask you to continue such kind of work, caring for women and for young people. In fact, even in Korea, my government is having serious problem because of a high unemployment rate of young people. But this is not only in Korea, but worldwide the problem. Yeah. And that's why for the first time in the history of the United Nations, I appointed a special envoy for youth.
Yes.
I established, for the first time in the history of the United Nations, UN Women, the super agency. It's like a Ministry of Women, Gender Empowerment at the United Nations.
That's great.
It's hard to believe that United Nations has not taken much on youth and women. That's what I did during my time as a Secretary General. Now, with your capacity now as one of the most successful business leaders in the world. How can you do more? I know that you are leading by example. I know that about 24% of board members are women in your company, and almost 50% of your employees are women. That's fantastic, and I ask you to continue, lead by example. But how can you ask your partners, or you must have a lot of millions of business partners.
Yeah.
It may be very important for you to emphasize the importance of doing much more. How can you do? What's your plan?
Yeah, first, thank you. First, I always share my secret sauce of the success of Alibaba. The secret sauce of Alibaba's success, because we have almost 49% of the employees of the company are women. 37% of the senior management of Alibaba Group are women. Let me tell you. Yeah, thank you. I want to thank women to supporting us. Let me tell you, if you want your company or organization to be okay, hire men. If you want your company to be good, hire at least 14 or to 50% of the women. If you want your company to be perfect, you should make men and women working together. This is 3 ways. I found a lot of companies have a lot of men, their company okay. You know, there is nothing that is good. But a lot of company good, they must have a lot of women inside. If the company is perfect, women and men work harmoniously. For my company, I would say that one thing proved, sure, we are entering a world with great experience. Customers need great experience. Women has the best care heart than men. Women care for their husband, parents, and children. We see a lot of women go shopping. Women go shopping a lot, but they go shopping not only buy for themselves, they buy for husband, the parents, and the kids. We are entering into the world. It's not a competition of muscle, it's competition of wisdom. It's competition of careness. And I'm a strong believer that in the 21st century, if we have more women leaders, this world will be much peaceful and wonderful. If we have more presidents for women, right? If we have a Secretary General of the United Nations a woman, the world will be better. This is true, because women, they care. Men, well, I don't say men don't care. Normally, men care about themselves more than women care for the others. I have done a lot of statistics, both online and offline. So, I think if you want your company to be user-friendly, customers love you, with great chemistry in your company, please put that effect inside. This is the magic ingredient of your company. My company will never treat he or she. We just treat if she or he are capable. And young people are the future. Young people are our hope. A lot of people say hopeless. Your company hopeless because your company don't have young people. If your company have a lot of young people have a lot of great ideas. When you have great ideas, you are always full of hope for the future. So my company today, average age is 33 years old. We're getting old, but we encouraging every year we should have more young people to bring us different ideas. Young people have problems. Tell me, who has no problems? In this world, older people have the problems even much more difficult. They're much stubborn than the young people. Young people embrace the change. See, we are entering at the internet period. Secretary General said 8 billion people in this world, they are young people. And today in this world, more than 1.5 billion people are using internet. They breathe, they read, they eat, they sleep with the internet. And they are the reformer of tomorrow. They, at least, they are trying for the future. At least they can hear the future. They feel the future. We don't. So a lot of people try to see the future by their experience. Let me tell you, you may have experience of life, but you don't have the experience for the technology that is changed so rapidly, and young people have. So please hire enough young people to make your company full of hope. Please hire enough young people to make your company don't worry about the future. Please hire enough women to make your company to be perfect. There's no other ways that you can do it. And I've seen this, I prove this, and I'm telling most of my partners, colleagues, this is the way. And you like it or you don't like it. Young people will be the leader of our country, of our world. You see so many young leaders today in Europe. Used to be old guys, now young people. You see so many women leaders coming. It will come in more, no matter you like it or don't like it. And get ready to welcome them and embrace them. That's what I say. Thank you.
I like your comment, but don't tell it to Antonio Guterres when he comes tomorrow morning to. There is a woman leader who is now sitting with us, who became almost my successor, Secretary General of the United Nations. Irina Volkova, she was Director General.
Thank you.
I still regret, because the selection of a Secretary General is done by the member states of the United Nations. Secretary General doesn't have any control. But I have been sending out some message, unofficial messages. It's a high time for United Nations to have a woman leadership at the helm of the United Nations.
I believe the day will come.
Yeah, it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time. Then I think most of you might have read this Fortune 500. They surveyed their board, the composition of board members. Those companies where more women are sitting as board members, they were more prosperous, more successful in their business. This is exactly in line with what you are doing. Now I'm asking you consider employing more women and more young leaders in your jobs. I also need, ladies and gentlemen, some encouragement of applause of encouragement for me, what I have done for women. No.
Thank you.
After listening, what
You did a great job.
I'm normally known as quite a man, very conservative, educated under the heavy influence of Confucianism. But when I became the Secretary General, I was surprised that there were very few women leadership in the United Nations. Can you believe that since 1945, when the United Nations was established, until 1992, during 47 years, there were tens of thousands of UN staff. But of course, among the senior level, like Assistant Secretary General or Under Secretary General level, this is comparable to vice ministers or ministers. There were only 3 such women appointed during 47 years. It's an unacceptable situation. Then, of course, my predecessors like Kofi Annan, they've been trying hard, but not much, not much. By the end of my time as a Secretary General, I have appointed almost 225.
That's great.
Then the UN women, head of UN women came and gave me a plaque of appreciation. Then one very important women group in New York, based in New York last year, created an award in my name, Ban Ki-moon Award for Gender Empowerment. I went to New York to confer this Ban Ki-moon Award to three global leadership women, Gloria Steinem, who I think you must know her. She came to Korea, who crossed this DMZ with women leaders. She was one of them. And I was very much honored that they have created an award in my name, after my name. That is what I can tell you.
That's great.
I think I deserve some applause.
Of
yeah?
course. Let me, because I love this topic about the women leadership. As I say, you like it, don't like it, let me tell you one thing. The past centuries of human beings, people, competition of muscle, especially past 200 years, it's knowledge-based society. So, when knowledge-based, people learn how to be smart. But Confucius, the Taoism, the Buddhism is all about inward looking. But the knowledge-based society is outside looking. The smart people, what's the difference between smart and wisdom? Smart people know what they want. Wise people know what they don't want. That's the difference. Right? So wise people know this is not what I want. They don't want it. So they will not make a lot of silly mistakes. But smart people always, I want this, I want that. When I have women leaders in my management, they always ask me a question. Jack, are you sure this is what we want? Always a good question. Because human beings became so greedy in the past 200 years. We want everything. Not only on the earth, we want on the moon, we want on the Mars. But we have to ask, is that necessary you want? This is the question of wisdom. A woman has the talents and instinct of that, better than men. So it will come.
Thank you very much. Now, let's now move to some other very important subject about technology. You said that we are moving from IT to DT,
yeah.
data technology, and we are, I think, on the doorstep of all this fourth industrial revolution.
Yeah.
Now, this technological development has been phenomenal and very much, even some people say that it is moving at the light speed. We don't know where our technology level will reach. Now, at this moment, when we are talking about fourth industrial revolution, there are many people who express concerns whether we are going toward the right direction. Of course, it will be very important to take a benefit as much as we can from the transformative development of technologies, communication, etc. But at the same time, some people say that when this artificial intelligence reach a certain stage to control human being, when you know that the very famous AlphaGo has beaten Isidore, who is the world-class Go player. This AlphaGo has beaten all Chinese world-class and Japanese world-class Go players. Isidore has won just one set out of 5 sets, and nobody. Then we are now told that they may have some emotional capacity, some passions which only human being can have. This is a privilege of God's creatures. But now, what will happen if we reach a certain stage when the artificial intelligence controls human being? They say that by the time we reach 2100, there will be absolutely no jobs necessary. Is it really a reality? Then you are one of the most visionary person who has been using this technology of information and data technologies. I think when the G20 summit meeting was held in Hangzhou in 2016, you proposed to sort of World Trade Platform. This is the first time that the G20 leaders have adopted in their final declaration what the business leader has been saying. So you are the only one, as far as I understand, that your vision of EWTP has been included in final declaration of G20 summit meeting. Again, let me just ask a direct question. What do you think, how you view where we will be reaching in terms of industrial revolution, fourth industrial revolution, and what's the role of a human being at that time?
Thank you for the question. Let me tell you that the data period, the artificial intelligence, the robots, all the things you worry about is coming. So stop worrying. It's coming. Second, that this is very natural. A lot of people worry, just like a first revolution come, they worry, second revolution come, they worry. And those people worried are always older people and rich and successful, experienced people. Young people don't worry. So you don't worry for the young people, all right? Young people said, don't worry about us, worry about yourself. It's just like in the early days when the mobile phone came, people said, how can you use a mobile phone that much? The screen is so small. Screen is not small, your eyes is getting old. Something is coming. Next thing I want to say, robots, artificial intelligence will never ever replace human being. This is my true belief. Human beings are so smart, so wise. No matter how smart computer is, human being will win. Let me tell you, when car was invented, the people who hated was the horsemen. They tried to destroy all the cars. You cannot stop it. And we know one thing, that machine is stronger than man. When car and trains came, we know machine will run faster than man. So the day when AlphaGo came, I said, how stupid people, why want to compete with AlphaGo? AlphaGo, that machine will be smarter than play chess with you. Just like a car is going to be faster than human being. Human being should play with human being. Human being should not play with machine. Remember that. If you want to compete with machine, who can play chess better, you are humiliating yourself. Don't do it. They remember everything. They never get tired. They never get angry. They never get happy. So they calculate. Human beings don't have chance. So don't do that. But the world is not about smartness. The world is about heart. Wisdom is from the heart. Brain is about the knowledge. If you compete with the knowledge, machine will win. But if you compete about the wisdom, machine has no chance. So I said, if you want to be successful, you should have IQ, high IQ. But if you don't want to lose, or I say, sorry, if you want to be successful, you should have a good high EQ, because EQ people love him, give him more opportunity. But if you don't want to lose quickly, you should have a high IQ. But if you want to be respected, continue to win, you should have LQ, the Q of love, which machine will never have it. So the challenge today is that everything we are teaching machine, don't worry about the machine, artificial intelligence, because the artificial intelligence today is trying to make machine learn from human beings, learn from human brains. How much we know about human brains? Less than 5%. The brain we know ourselves, less than 5 to 8%. How can less than 5 and 8% things that machine can do better than us? So don't worry about it. The thing we have to worry about is our children. How we should change our education system. How should we change the way we teach, the content that we teach, that making sure that our kids will not be stupid enough to compete with machines on the things the machine can do better. We should teach our kids do things the machine can never be able to do. By the way, I'm happy a lot of people don't have a lot of jobs on the jobs that machine can do better. Human beings should do things that human being can do better. You like it, don't like it, let me tell you. My grandfather worked 18 hours a day. He said, oh, very busy. He worked in the digging, in the plant. We work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. We feel very busy. Let me tell you, our grandchildren work only like 3-4 hours a day, 3 days a week. They will tell you they are very busy. They are traveling all around the world. In our life, we only visited 30 cities. Their life, they will visit 300 cities in their life. They are always on the way. They are always exchange. They are using machines to do a lot of things that a human being don't want to do. But of course, next 30 years will be tough. That is why it is good, it is bad. That is why we have to find solutions. Get ready for it. You cannot stop it. Nobody can. The only thing is how we can change ourselves to be harmonious with the coming technology. We don't have choice, guys. So when a lot of things the Prime Minister and President worry, I never worry. I only worry about the things the Prime Minister did not worry. I have a lot of things my worries. So I said, how can we change our kids? So the thing, company like us, we have a responsibility to share our know-how, to improve our technology, using technology to enable people live better, instead of using technology to make yourself powerful or your company powerful. This is going to be disaster. Last centuries or century before last, human beings used the technology to make themselves more powerful, let the other people down. Then the technology revolution become social revolution. We should be using technology to be inclusive, enable all the people. In this way, society next to 30 years is going to be peaceful. This is my suggestion.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit relieved to learn that what you said, the human being will be able to wisely control and overcome these concerns. That's what I have been also thinking. Even though I'm not a scientist, I'm not a futurist, but I have also been asked so many times that kind of a question, which I asked you, but it turns out that your answer and my answer seems to be the same. I have been always saying that thinking about how humankind has been able to overcome all the challenges during like millennia years.
Yes.
In the end, humankind will be able to overcome this challenge. That's one thing I firmly believe, and thank you very much for your such inspiring.
Yeah, my
work.
grandfather worried about my father. My father worried about me, you know. But I do better than my father do better than my grandfather. So don't worry about us. Don't worry about young people. Young people can do better. We have to trust them, and I trust them. This is why our company grows. Right? So don't worry about it.
Again, one last comment is that it's not political comment, but listening to what you've been saying, that our succeeding generations will say, complain that, wow, I've been working so hard, etc., etc. This seems to be what the President Moon Jae-in of Korean government is saying. He's asking, pushing out all the government officials and the employees of business communities, why don't you keep 8 hours strict time and enjoy your leave? And they are giving even paternal leave or maternal in addition to maternal leave. I think this seems to be far-reaching vision. But there are so many business people who are also expressing concern. But listening to you, I think President Moon seems to be right. Is this not political comment, my personal comment? I'm a little bit conscious of our time. I think we are supposed to have a dialogue for about an hour. So hour has almost passed. Then I may ask our moderator, James Chow, where are you, James?
James?
Behind you.
Oh,
Yeah,
Mr. Bun.
yeah, all right.
hi,
That's
James.
yeah.
Good to see you again. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great joy to be here at Yonsei University, and thank you very much to Mr. Bun for having me here. Once in a while, you'll go to a live event, such as the one we have today, and you'll be wowed by a speaker who's truly transforming our choices and our opportunities. On this particular occasion, we had not just one, but two such figures, and we heard them also in conversation. So what we want to do now is to elevate that experience for everybody here in this room. As the Sustainable Development Goals are inclusive in spirit, so we want to bring your voice into this town hall, so to speak. So you've got mics all around the room, including in the upstairs gallery. You've got the Facebook with the Yonsei page where you can ask your questions. And we're going to use the next 30 minutes to tap into the ideas and insights of the two global visionaries that we have up here on the stage. So let's start off with one from Facebook. We had one from Song Up-bong. I know my pronunciation is very, very bad. But he talked about Alibaba, because when we think about Alibaba, a lot of people reduce it to a retail shopping experience. But he taps right into it. He says, we've heard about Alibaba trying to promote social welfare by Alipay and other systems. Could you give us some details on how Alibaba is trying to improve the quality of lives for Chinese people and by helping disadvantaged groups? And of course, if you go to the Alibaba campus in Hangzhou, there's a beautiful corporate museum. And you can look at the ways in which they're helping to find missing children through their big data. They're also using big data to predict extreme weather patterns. So, Mr. Ma, perhaps we can start with a wider idea on how you're trying to help people live the best lives that they can.
Yeah, thank you for the question, for giving me time to advertise my company. Yeah, people know about Alibaba because we're an e-commerce company, but e-commerce is only like 20% of what we're doing. The market cap today we listed in New York. We only have like 30% of colleagues working on that. 70% of the employees of Alibaba work nothing to do with that company. We believe the world should be inclusive. We believe the world should be sustainable. That is why we develop all the technology and data for the future. And different from the other technical companies, we think our technology should enable human beings. Our technology improving globalization. I think nobody can stop globalization. When people only work 3-4 days a week, 3-4 hours a day, how can you stop them traveling? You cannot keep them in the house. They're traveling around the world, the businesses. So our vision is try to using internet technology, enable every people, every small business, every woman, they can global buy, global sell, global deliver, global pay, and global fund, global travel with funds. So this is what we are doing. This is called EWTP. We used to call Electronic World Trade Platform. Now we call it EWTTP, Electronic World Trade and Tourism Platform. We believe a lot of countries don't have things to sell. But if they keep their good environment and culture, we can bring a lot of tourism to them. Also can create a lot of jobs. So this is what we are doing. Thank you for the time.
Okay, so let's look around the room. Who's got a question? We'll take somewhere from maybe towards the front of the room first. Who's got a question? You got a question? Okay, let's go up to you. You can tell us what your name is, what your question is, and who it's for.
Okay, and first of all, thank you very much for sharing your insight, Mr. Ban and Mr. Ma. My name is Jin Lee. I'm Korean, and I'm working for a startup company in Korea, which are we are fighting for the finest problem in China and in Korea. And as a young people, and I realized that we have a lot of ideas, and we would like to action more and more for fighting all those problems. But at the same time, we realize that there are not so much financial helps in So I would like to know if Alibaba, as a founder of Alibaba, do you have any plan to invest to those startup companies, especially in Korea, who are fighting for those environmental problems? Thank you.
Environmental problems.
Yes.
Yes and no. Yes, we would be very happy to join the force together with the young Korean young people with their great ideas, technology, innovation. Join the force together, fighting against the environment problems. No is that we need good people to organize, to making sure things are done in a proper way and can be executed in an efficient way, an effective way. So there are a lot of things we should do, we can do, and we must do. And I think great ideas fighting against the poverty, disease, and environment. These are the wars which I call the Third World War should fight together. And this is where the money should be. This is where the technology should be. But the only thing is, now, as the CEO, chairman of Alibaba, I have a tiny time for that. But later when I become the retired founder of Alibaba, I will spend a lot of time on that. Thank you for the question. I keep that in my mind, and I will join the force together with you guys. Thank you.
So we can turn to this part of the room. I don't know how, I think we've got about 1,000 people in the room. We managed to find the only Chinese who wants to ask a question as well. Chen Jiangwu.
Thank you, Mr. Pan and Mr. Ma. I'm Chen Jiangwu from Nanjing, China. And now I'm doing research on AI application on medicine in Asa Medical Center. I have a question to both Mr. Pan and Ms. Ma. How to make a balance between individual happiness and social responsibility or global responsibility? And there's another question for Mr. Ma. Besides thinking about women or thinking about how to love, do you have any practical tips for the 30-year-old generations? And I watched your movie, 攻守道, last night. As a young people, as a young people, I'm more curious about how to get along with the authorities. I think unconditional obedience is not a good idea. So do you have any suggestions for us? Thank you.
You're only saying this because you're not in China right now, right? And there's 3 questions. Okay, we'll take the first one first.
Yeah, okay. This first part is a very important one. We are living in an era of a lot of conflicts, individualism, nationalism versus global visions. Without global vision, global citizenship, we will continue to see all these kind of conflicts and problems. Not only poverty, particularly the fightings and extremism, terrorism. Because of this, a lot of people have to flee their home countries. There are a lot of hatred, a lot of fightings. I have been always emphasizing to foster the global citizenship. But that is why recently, last month, in Vienna, I have established a Ban Ki-moon Center for Global Citizens, because I believe that the fostering and strengthening global citizenship will help promote global solidarity. There is no country, no company, no business, however successful you may be, there is nothing which we can do alone. For example, let us think about which country is the richest and most powerful. Easily you can say United States and the European countries. They are most resourceful countries. However powerful and resourceful one may be, you cannot do it alone. Therefore, it's very important to promote and foster global solidarity rather than individualism, rather than nationalism. I have been speaking to world leaders. Please do not erect walls among people or among countries. Instead, build bridges among people. That's what we have to do. But unfortunately, there are so many people, so many countries are in conflict. Now, if this kind of a conflict situation continues, I think business people may not be able to engage in a sustainable way to make their business work. That's my concern at this time. And for young people to really prosper tomorrow and day after tomorrow, then we have to create such conditions.
Thank you. So my answer is that, let me tell you a bad news. The bad news is that today in this world, we don't have a lot of global citizens like Mr. Ban Ki-moon. Very limited. Good news is that we're going to have more, for sure. Because people like him sacrifice whole his life for the world peace and prosperity. Not so many people able to do that, have the vision and heart, big heart like him. But I think this kind of group of people is coming bigger. The good news. So my advice to people like you, if you don't have anything, a good global citizen first, be a good son, be a good father, be a good brother, be a good citizen of your city. That is the step that we can all be done. We have more power, money, resources, do more things for the society. When I was tiny, I don't have, I want to change the world. My father said, change yourself first. Now when I have money, when I have all the resources, when I have got more than 65,000 great employees and technology we have, let's do something, not for me, but for the world. So this is what I think, that let's care for ourselves, care for family, our community, our city. And then we'll grow, it will grow. I believe if you really care for your family, your community, you one day will be able to care for the world, and you will be powerful. But if you're a 30 years old person, I've said last time in Korea, if you're 20 years old, please follow some good company, a good boss, or good teacher, to be disciplined to learn how to be a right person, right employee. When you're 30 years old, if you want to do something yourself, do something yourself. When you're 40 years old, do something you are good at. When you're 50 years old, spend the time helping young people. When you're 60 years old, spend time with your grandchildren. So, don't worry about it. About the movie thing, it's a fun part of my life. CEO should have his life. And I think authority obedient, if they're right, we follow. If they're not right, we convince them, communicate with them. But finally, we follow.
We're going to take one more question over here. Then I think we're going to jump up to the upper gallery. Yonsei, yes, and your question?
I have a question to Jack Ma. Jack, thank you very much for your perspective. And years ago, I listened to your speech on YouTube, and you told me you said before, in your age of 50s, you have to do something for youngsters. So I've written this book and named English Gump. Your most respected person is Forrest Gump, right? So I take the name of the book from that, Forrest Gump. And I know you were the English teacher for 6 years. And what is the best advice to all over the world of the English learners? How can we master English easily and fast?
Thank you. With the artificial intelligence and robots, you don't need English, a lot of people say. Because robot, you put a chip inside, you understand all the language. But this is no good. I strongly encourage that everybody try to learn the other language yourself, no matter how great the equipment will be. Because it's not about the skill. It's about you are opening a door for another country, different culture. Because I think my English is no good. A lot of people speak excellent English, much better English than I do. But I would say I understand Western culture much more than most of the Chinese people. I read the Bibles for several times, so that's why I understand Western. But a lot of Westerners have never read Buddhism, Confucius, for even one page. They start to criticize Oriental. So if you don't know, so language is so important. I don't know how to improve it quickly. There's nothing can be quickly. If you want to be quickly, it's always no good. Slowly, enjoy it, they will be good.
You know, Jack Ma was introduced up on stage as the founder and executive chairman of Alibaba, and you hear people call him Chairman Ma, but I know that having gone to your campus, people call him Ma Lao Shi, which literally means Teacher Ma. It's not an exalted title, but it goes back to the roots of his original career and what he wants to impart with people. And I think Ban Ki-moon has been very much the same. You're the head of the IOC Ethics Commission.
Yes.
You have your Ban Ki-moon Center for Global Citizens. And also, you're now one, I think, of less than 10 elders in the world today. Is there a commonality? What's the common value that unites those three roles? And you told the world a few years ago that we are now at the most dangerous point since the end of the Second World War. Since you have the young world in front of you now, what would you say they must know now urgently?
When I said that we are living, this level of tension is the most serious since the end of Korean War, I was referring to the situation on the Korean Peninsula. But your question about my role as IOC Ethics Commission Chair or one of the elders of the world, I think should be much broader one. Of course, the situation on the Korean Peninsula has global implications, not only regional. It has serious implications in this Northeast Asia, but if we do not properly manage this situation and wisely, then this will elevate into global security concerns. I hope that even though there are some mixed feelings among Korean people, or even in our relationship with some friendly countries, there seems to be some differences of views how to manage the current situation. First of all, one needs to be very practical. That is important that we have to carry on this Winter Olympic Games in Pyeongchang most peacefully and make it the venue of reconciliation and peace. That's fundamentally important. After that, we must make sure that this small opening of dialogue should be led to a genuinely meaningful dialogue, leading up to the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. The process may be extremely difficult. Everybody should be patient and flexible and creative and try to see a bigger picture rather than just one bit by bit what is happening now between South and North Korea. Now, number 2 North Korean leader Kim Yong-nam is coming. I think he must have arrived. Then I sincerely hope that President Moon Jae-in will take this opportunity of engaging with the many world leaders, friendly countries, alliance, and also even with North Korea. That's my sincere hope. And concerning the overall international picture, I think we are living in one of the most difficult periods in terms of political situation. The more extremism, more terrorism have now taken place. When I finished my job, when I began my job in 2007, there were less than 20 million refugees. Then by the end of my term, after 10 years, the refugee number rose to 65 million. My commitment at the beginning of my term was that I will do my best to make this world better for all. Whether I have made it possible or not, that has to be left to the judgment of historians. But it was not only me alone. The UN Secretary General is one of many global leaders, but I couldn't do all when the leaders of the world were not fully cooperating, were not united, were not cooperating with the United Nations, were not providing necessary financial support. Then this is what we are now seeing. Now, as one of the elders of this world, even though the elders does not mean that I am old, you know. I will do my best to do whatever, even without any official title. That I give you my strong commitment.
That's a very unfair title they give to people, calling them the elders. But anyway, Ban Ki-moon, one of the world's youngers. I want to quickly give the floor to say 2 more questions in the audience. The lady in white, do we have a microphone to go up to the upstairs gallery? We do, right over there. And as they get to you, let's take a question from over here. Oh, well, since you're waving so frantically, the one with a face mask, but you're not in Beijing, so I don't know why you're wearing a face mask. But the lady in green. I can't see. So we'll take the lady in there first.
Well,
Is there a microphone?
I have a microphone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I had to. Yeah, it was such a, it was a chance to, it was such a hard chance to see. So it's such an honor to be able to speak to you in person. And the question, I have actually one comment and one question for you. One comment is, I personally don't believe that just giving out job opportunities for women is not really good enough, because I strongly believe that men also need to learn those values too. So like, I believe we're living in the world where masculinity is being like overly dominating, and femininity is being regarded as something as very weak and something that's to be avoided. So I believe if you not only give job opportunities to women, but also kind of make the atmosphere in Alibaba to be more like careful, like regardless of gender, you know, or the sex that they're born with. So I think it'll be even better for your company. So I just wanted to make that comment. And second, the question that I have is, you actually mentioned that if people, it's actually good that people are not having job anymore, but I actually couldn't really like wholeheartedly agree with that, because I thought they are actually losing their job, like, and it was not, they were not voluntarily like losing their job, they're like losing their job regardless of what they wanted. And I think it is actually a bad sign for the widening gap of the poor and the rich. So like the rich, they don't have to work, but poor, they can't afford anything because they cannot work. So in terms of this problem, in coming so-called like fourth revolution, I just wanted to hear your opinion in detail. Thank you.
Thank you for the first comment. I think it's not that we're giving jobs for women in our company. It's the women give opportunities for us. They trust in us and they join us. That make our company different. We do not think we are giving jobs for women. It's the women giving us chance. They are not joining the other company like Google, Amazon. They join Alibaba, right? I told the first day when we don't have enough employee, I told the company that we can hire different people, but people, they're giving the best time of their life in our company. And we should be thankful. It's not they should thank us giving job, it's we should thank them. I absolutely agree with you. And second, about those people who are losing jobs next 30 years, that worried me, but there's only one thing they can do is try to learn. There are a lot of opportunities today. Do not try to stick to tomorrow. When I was a teacher, I did a lot of jobs. In my part-time, I was probably the busiest teacher. And when I was a student, I graduated from university, I applied so many jobs, all rejected. So I did a lot of part-time jobs. And I believe one thing, one day I will. When you're turned down, and let me tell you, one day the technology revolution is coming. If I prepare now, if I study now, one day I will be successful. So if you don't prepare, one day I will permanently lose my job. So not spend your time on computer games. Spending time on the things that you learn that's good future is going to use. And remember, all the young people, that I don't think I will be here, be able to sit next to such a great and honorable person like Secretary General and you guys. I never thought in my life I would be there. But when I was young, I thought one day I will be something if I do study, learn now. I overworked than most of young people. But I never disappear like when I rejected by people, I never disappoint. I think I'm not qualified. These guys don't have the vision. All right, thank you.
You know, I think it's so special for everybody here in this room to be listening to you both in conversation. And who would like to have a photograph with Ban Ki-moon and Jack Ma? I can't hear you. You do? Well, I think a little idea, I don't know if you're up for it, but what if we take a selfie of everybody, of you taking, who's going to take, would you take the selfie?
Yeah.
Okay, let's find a camera. Who's got a camera?
Okay.
Who's got a, oh, you got one. Okay, great.
Okay.
Are you
like
ready? You
this
don't,
way.
wait.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
don't
like
need to
this way.
stand, you just sit, and then we'll take it.
Okay.
But you got to wave.
Right.
Okay, we're
look
going to
at
take
here.
it from another angle.
Yeah, that will be that angle.
And one more.
Okay.
Why don't you wave?
That will be good.
Okay, we good?
Thank you.
Okay, one more thing.
Yeah.
Before we say goodbye, we're going to invite the speakers from today and also the board members of the Ban Ki-moon Center to join us up on stage for one last photograph.
Okay, that's good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
So if all our speakers and board members from Vienna can join us up on the stage, maybe Mr. Ban and Mr. Ma could come right to the center, to the front a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
It's a great honor for me to meet you. I'm Rotary International.
Oh, good. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.